Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a lovely weekend. Now this video is going to be focused on the synergy groups around Tigra. Now Tigra, we've done a deep dive of this champion midweek. Obviously she's kind of hit and miss. There's great kind of like utility in different areas, fun, but it's not a champion for me. However though, let's have a look at her synergies because there's some really kind of interesting and fun ones and also good for utility as well. So first of all, talking about Hawkeye. Now, I'm not going to put footage for every single champion on top of the screen, but I will be mentioning and focusing on two in particular, but talking about the usability, utility, whatever you want to call it, for certain champions. Like, for example, Hawkeye. If you want to go against a route, a node, a path that has got bleed immunity, and you're like, well, you know, I've got a power control option in shape and form of Hawkeye, then, well, you could use the likes of Hawkeye with this synergy with Tigra and do poison damage instead, which I think is amazing. Also, something with Black Panther Civil War, and I'm not a massive fan, I probably wouldn't use that champion, but that is something that we're going to focus on first and foremost. So, Black Panther Civil War even, when attacked while reflective state is active, Black Panther has a 6% chance to gain an armor up buff, granting obviously the armor up. Not really something that I'm too interested with, especially from an attacking option, and this is something that doesn't really kind of add any more kind of damage output for a Black Panther Civil War. But the thing that interested me was with Black Panther. Now recently there has been synergies with this champion. If I remember rightly, something with Black Widow Deadly Origin, which unfortunately I don't have to test out, which would have been nice to test out for this. So the video that I'm playing on top at the moment is utilizing this synergy here. So 80% chance to inflict an additional bleed when landing critical hit. Each bleed on the opponent increases critical damage rating by 50. Now, is this the case it would have been better with that champion? Black Panther to add in a synergy that ramped up the critical rating. Yes, that would have been advisable, because then what we're doing is we're increasing the amounts of bleeds or the chances to get a critical. It's not always the case. I was seeing regular amounts of crit damage, which was good because obviously that helped triggered off more bleeds, but I don't think, unfortunately, it's a case that this synergy is going to do much for this champion. I was trying to as well put in different types of synergies with that, like skill domination, as well as something else, something that really kind of amplified bleed damage. And that's the thing, you can't really, except for that Black Widow Deadly Origin synergy of last month, ramp up the bleed damage for this champion. And I would love to see Black Panther, as well as a lot of OG champions, being brought up to the current meta, especially if they've got 6-star iterations to obviously improve the state of affairs. It's something I think Kabam are still working to improve. Next up, and two champions that don't appeal to me whatsoever, except Vulture. I've done a little video on Vulture in the past. This particular synergy is activating Raptor Strike, pauses siphon charges and thermal feedback debuffs for 5 seconds, which can be quite handy with what I tested, but this is a champion that is best suited for suicide masteries if you want to damage output more. The same thing goes for a lot of the champions on the list. If you want to see a lot more damage from certain champions, you will have to change your masteries around extensively in order to see more kind of damage improvements, damage ramp ups, special attack damage. But as well, if you've got suicide masteries, effectively when you're throwing SP1s and SP2s, which might be part of the key functionality of the champion, you ultimately are going to tick away damage, which is not a good enough method to keep your champion sustainable going from fight to fight. It will cost you a lot more in the long run. But that does bring us over very nicely from two average champions, which this doesn't really amplify their damage output that much, could say otherwise, but it has got to be with War Machine. Now I was interested in trying out this War Machine synergy, especially because armor ups gain a flat 30% ability accuracy and potency. Additionally, during special attack, gain plus 30% attack rating for each armor up buff or passive on either champion up to a maximum of 300%. Now that's the thing with that, it was good. I did see some problems with the fact of like actually trying to get the armor up buffs. If you know War Machine, you'll know that it's guaranteed at about 20%, depending on your signature ability for the champion. It is very difficult to kind of like see the extent of it. So MG the clip, War Machine readies All remaining ordnance in health drops below 20%, granting 12 stacks of armor up and each increasing armor rating by 1,000, etc, etc. Also, when attacked, you gain armor up buffs, and as well 100% chance to inflict an armor break, debuff removing armor up buff on the enemy. And also, the SP3 doesn't add any armor to the champion. So effectively, it is a case you are looking to take damage to build an armor buff, but it's only for 6 seconds. So effectively, you're playing this champion down low at about 20%. Now, this is a 4-star version I'm using. This is a level 99 signature. So that's the problem. You effectively are saying to yourself, right, well, I've got to play this champion at low damage, low health in order to maximize damage, which I don't think is a viable way of playing. Other synergies that the champion has don't really kind of improve the champion, and it would be nice to consider that maybe in the future Kabam could look at this champion from a point of just general improvement. But again, it's one of these old school champions that we put these synergies together. They're not incredibly desirable. They just add a little bit of something to the OG champions, which is nice, but it doesn't cut the mustard with damage output. So of these Tigra Synergies, where like we've had a couple of champions ago have had some really decent ones, they've been kind of average, and I would say the only one of value in this synergy has got to be like Hawkeye. Hawkeye is a fairly underrated champion. I love the fact that he can power control off an SP1, has been like an amazing asset for things like unexpected things. Say if you've got an negating system, you need a champion that's got power control, this is a good option for that. And as well, that ability to switch between doing poison damage as opposed to bleed damage. It could be a case that you need an option that does the poison damage instead of the bleed damage, because whatever it is that you're going up against a champion that is bleed immune but isn't poison immune, like Colossus, or like several other champions that are like that in their configuration. So this has been one of these things that has been interesting to deep dive some of these synergies, but at the same time, like the same problem, like these OG synergy bumpers that we get from champion to champion, some months and some champions have amazing ones, like the Eastern Blockers synergy of last month with Red Guardian. But for whatever reason, this month hasn't really kind of like ticked a load of boxes when it comes to that. I still absolutely love Eastern Blockers as a synergy, and I don't know why Kabam thought that they were not going to put it as a 4-star one, because you kind of go like, well, this should really be in as a 4-star one. But there you go, that's just how it rolls. Thank you very much for watching this deep dive into some of these synergies. I did amplify a few of them using marvelsynergy.com, link is in the description. But as well, what are your thoughts on them? Put it in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching this video. Check some on-screen content out at the moment, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye for now.